She is a hero putting this together and working. This takes hours. And everyone who meets the deadlines, so much we appreciate it. And we continue to hope to have a quality product for you for the rest of this year. So thank you all who contribute to this. The theme of this year's Law Day being... There you go. Thank you, Elaine. The theme of this year's Law Day that every vote matters. It was especially, I don't know, just the timing was just right to make this special presentation. Voting matters, elections matter, posts that we vote for matter. I'm going to ask Tom Charron to join us up here to make this presentation.
Thank you so much, Laura. I am so honored and delighted to be here today to take part in this special presentation. But I want to go back some time ago. I was privileged for over 21 years to serve as District Attorney here in Cobb County, and I truly loved every day that I served as the Chief Prosecutor in Cobb County. And what made it such a delightful job was really the people that I had an opportunity to work with in my office. I was privileged and fortunate to have outstanding men and women who truly are what we're all about today here on this Law Day, who truly believed in the rule of law and lived it each and every day. Some of the folks you see up here, as well as many of the lawyers in this Cobb Association, went on to greater careers after they worked with me in the DA's office. They served on every level of judgeship, whether it was as Chief Magistrate, in the juvenile court, in the State Court of Cobb County or the Superior Court of Cobb County, and even on the Court of Appeals for the state of Georgia. They served in the state legislature. They served with the Attorney General of the state of Georgia, and they also served with the Department of Justice, the United States Department of Justice. And many of the folks I had the privilege to work with are now outstanding members of the bar who are serving their fellow man in the practice of law. Today's recipient is all of that. Back in 1982, I had just gotten re-elected to my second term. I was very young, so don't start going through it again. And I was looking for a staff. We had some very experienced prosecutors that I was privileged to have on my staff, but we wanted a young and energetic lawyer. And so, as the word went out, and I asked members of the bar, could you recommend for me somebody who'd be willing to leave, try to practice, and come and work in the district attorney's office? This person's name kept coming back to me. And in January of 1983, I had the opportunity to persuade him to close his law practice and to come to work for the Cobb District Attorney's Office. And I wasn't let down with the recommendation that I got. I didn't know of it or have ever experienced a more energetic lawyer who represented the interests of the citizens of Cobb County, who was fair, who was honest, and put all of his heart into the representation of the victims of crime. I knew I wasn't going to be able to have this person stay with me very long because he was destined for greater, like so many of those other gifted people I had the opportunity to work with. Some few years later, the Superior Court bench recognized this young man when they appointed him as the Chief Magistrate for Cobb County. And he served in distinction in that capacity for 8 years. In 1994, as Laura just pointed out, there was a vacancy on the Superior Court of Cobb County, and this recipient entered his name and into the race. And he was just as energetic and he was just as focused on the rule of law that he was in my office. He successfully ran that campaign when he was elected a Superior Court judge. And for the next 20 years, he has served with honor and distinction. So much so that not only were we proud to have him as a member of our judiciary in Cobb County, but throughout throughout the state of Georgia, whenever a difficult case was called upon, and the judges, for whatever reason, had to recuse themselves, they called upon this gentleman to sit, to bring order back to that court, wherever it was. In 1997, I got to really see how this particular person was able to conduct a very difficult trial. For over 2.5 months, we were in North Georgia trying the Fred Tokar's case. And I'll tell you, there were 8 egos in attorneys, both on the defense side and on the prosecution, that this judge had to rein in on a daily basis. Tempers sometimes got a little tight, but always this judge ruled with honor, with candor, with friendship to all of the lawyers. And I got to tell you, that was a tough job, because after all those days in court, it was being recorded gavel to gavel on court TV. So if there was going to be any warts shown on a particular judge, they would have been shown here. Yet throughout the country, I was getting emails and letters from some colleagues of mine throughout the country saying, we only wish we had a judge like that on the bench trying the big cases like you have. That wasn't the end of the big cases. After that particular case, our recipient went on to handle a number of other cases that I'm sure you're all aware of. The Lynn Turner antifreeze case, and the intentional cover-up of the tri-state crematorium, where over 300 bodies were found discarded outside of a local crematorium. And also, as we all remember more frequently, when it appeared that one of the most outrageous crimes being committed against our profession and in our courthouses in Atlanta, Georgia, some years ago, could not seem to get off the ground, and there could not seem to be a judge that could handle this case. They called upon this recipient to sit in and to turn around the state of Georgia versus Brian Nichols. The case was tried with distinction, with dispatch, with the rights of all, including the defendant, being insured, and a just verdict was rendered. I am honored and delighted today to represent a special presentation to a person who decided that he really did believe in one vote for one person, and the vote counts. Many judges will retire, and that's certainly okay in midterm, where an appointment from the governor is then made. This recipient made it very clear that he was going to serve his term out, and it would be up to the citizens of the county of Cobb to decide who their next Superior Court judge would be. Because, as he said, this is the way I got in, and I truly believe it's the way judges should be selected, be directly accountable to the citizens. So, members of the bar, I want to tell you, it's been a real honor not only to recognize a true jurist, a true lawyer, but also how I'm so privileged to call him my friend, Judge Jim Bodiford.
Amen.